Well, hey, welcome into Live at Liberty, episode 2 of season 3. And if you're looking around the table and you're thinking, man, everybody looks pretty good, but Levi looks like he needs maybe some extra vitamins today. Levi has had a long, arduous, spiritual weekend, right? So this is the look of the youth guy after he comes back from a 3-day weekend at Strength Stand. So, Levi, tell us a little bit about the 42 people, 30-something students headed up to Pigeon Forge, and tell us about the weekend up there.
Man, so the scripture that comes to mind is where it said that Christ was dead in the flesh but alive in the spirit. That's about how I feel. So I got about 16 hours of sleep. And over 2 days, that sounds really good, but that's probably from Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and last night. So averaging about 4 hours sleep a night. But on the flip side, man, it was such a good time, and it always is. Scott Dawson does a good job. Strength to Stand is always awesome. We had 34 students, 10 leaders, and man, Spirit was moving. Kids were experiencing repentance. We had some decisions for Christ. All the things that we prayed for, good weather, safe travels. God was so faithful. He really was. And we had great small groups and conversations, and I couldn't ask for anything better. And just shout out to the leaders who went. I'm learning more and more about the church and how God has sovereignly put it together, and how we are as a body, and how He puts people around me that their strengths are my weaknesses, and it just all fits together. And there's no way I could have done any of what I did this weekend without them. And so just shout out to the whole church fam. And yeah, man, filled up, but my brain may be a bit foggy. So,
hey, here's a question for you. How many times did Scott mention his grandson during the weekend from the stage?
Actually,
was it over or under 10?
If you're betting on Cauchy, I think it was actually under 10. He was so pumped about the gospel. I mean, like when he came in, I don't even think the kids had sat down from the concert up front. You know, they all go to the front for the musical part. I don't even think they had gotten back to their seat, and he was just firing into the scriptures. He was ready this year, good. So it was good stuff.
I texted him Friday morning just to tell him, like, praying for the weekend, all that kind of stuff. Anytime I have any interaction with Scott Dawson now, I guess it's because I have a grandchild too. It's always about that. So I guess we're in that phase of life. So
I generally haven't been Levi for the last 7 years or so. I've been Zoe's dad, so I get it. And I imagine when there's grandkids, I get that.
I saw several pictures. I think Gunner was there for the first conference. I'm not sure if he was there for this one, but man, he is fired up about that grandson. So good. I'm glad to hear it was an incredible weekend. So. Monday, we filmed this on Tuesdays. Monday was MLK Day, Martin Luther King Jr. Day, so memorializing him. We're going to play a little game today, right? So we're going to find out.
Everybody immediately just got suspicious.
So here we go. So here's some famous Martin Luther King Jr. quotes. Obviously, I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation. Well, they would not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. That's my favorite one. But a lot of people think that was first delivered in 1963 in front of the Lincoln Memorial. Iconic scene, big, huge thing. Y'all kind of remember that. If you've seen Forrest Gump, you've seen that. Yep. I think that scene's in there, isn't it? Or he goes to a Vietnam rally or something like that. Yeah. But that was actually first documented use of that was 1 year earlier in the gymnasium of Booker T. Washington High School in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. So he had been using that numerous times through speeches, which a lot of speakers do. But the most notable one was in 1963. And then out of his book, Strength to Love, this is a good one. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to read you some quotes from famous people. All right, so I'm going to give you quotes that smart people say, and I've noticed none of us are on this list. All right, so things smart people say. That's the game we're going to play here. So I'm going to give you a quote. I'm going to give you a multiple choice. You pick which one you think it is. We'll see who's right. Y'all kind of keep your own score. And I'll give you a little nugget about each of the people, each of the quotes. All right. So here's the first one. Quote number 1. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Was that Abraham Lincoln, Frederick Douglass, Martin Luther King Jr., or Nelson Mandela? So injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Lincoln, Frederick Douglass.
I'm keeping my score. I'm answering here.
No cheating.
Gotta keep the phones above.
This
the
is
table,
my
right?
notes
He's like,
app.
he's like, Google has a scorekeeper. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Now I'm picking up what you're
So it's Chat GPT.
So A, Abraham Lincoln, B, Frederick Douglass, C, Martin Luther King Jr., or D, Nelson Mandela.
Can't believe you don't trust me.
Y'all ready? You got the answer? In your,
I think so.
all right, let's poll the audience. Jody, who do you think?
Okay, I put B.
Scott?
I put B.
Austin?
Just went for D. I don't know.
Levi?
I went Frederick Douglass B.
All right. Melissa?
No, I went with D.
Y'all all missed it. It was actually Martin Luther King Jr. Right out of the gate. Right
Yeah.
I'm having like Thanksgiving
flashbacks.
flashbacks.
Kind of threw y'all off.
Why'd you make
right?
it so obvious?
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's 0.
So that was actually quotes from letter from the Birmingham jail. Letter from the Birmingham jail. And by the way, on that, so we lived in Birmingham for 10 years. If you ever get a chance to go to Birmingham, you've got to do the Civil Rights Museum. It's not just about Martin Luther King Jr., but it is, Birmingham was kind of an epicenter of all that stuff going on. It is well worth the time. It is a fascinating tour. So
So did you
Stop
know
in
that?
there.
Did you know that before you wrote that question?
I did. Yeah, the letters from the Birmingham jail. Actually, it's pretty awesome. So anyway, all right, so let's go question number 2. Not Martin Luther King Jr., right? So this has
Changing it up.
change it up. All right, here you go. Be yourself. Everyone else is already taken.
Oh, I've heard this.
Be yourself. Everyone else is already taken. A, Mark Twain. B, Oscar Wilde. C, C.S. Lewis. Or D, Ernest Hemingway.
I thought it was Blippy.
I was thinking
Bluey.
Dr. Seuss.
No, Blippy. You know
Is there no one?
No,
Blippy?
we're not going to go in. It's this grown man that does like children's content on YouTube.
I know
and it's
nothing
cringe.
about him.
It's very cringe.
So,
Yeah. Well, now at least I'm speaking somebody's language here.
so be yourself. Everyone else is already taken. Mark Twain, Oscar Wilde, C.S. Lewis, Ernest Hemingway, E, SpongeBob. All right, so you ready to go? All right, so lock in your answer. The answer is B, Oscar Wilde.
For real life?
Yes.
I really
Yep.
did get that, yes.
That was my second choice.
Yeah. Did you do Mark Twain?
I did.
I did
Mark
too.
Twain and Oscar Wilde, yes.
Man.
Man, Oscar Wilde's a weird dude. He was very much if there's anybody in the Bible that he would be in the Bible, it's Solomon, because he tried everything and wound up empty. My favorite Oscar Wilde is The Picture of Dorian Gray. You ever read
Yep.
that? Oh man, it's awesome.
I had a friend growing up that called me Oscar instead of Austin.
Oh,
Just a fun fact.
Because of that,
No, he just couldn't pronounce my name.
pull that off.
It's just an honest
is it
mistake.
because he thought he was a weird dude, or he just thought that was your name?
He just thought
right?
I should be myself because everybody else was taken.
Well, Oscar Wilde was definitely unique. So he was a different dude. All right. So question number 3, or quote number 3: the only thing necessary for triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. Is that A, Thomas Jefferson, B, Edmund Burke, C, John Locke, who was also on Lost and a philosopher,
Yes.
or D, Alexis Tokourev? I don't even know. But that's
Not
not the
that
answer
one.
anyway. We'll go with Spider-Man.
I feel like that's correct.
D, Spider-Man. All right, so lock in your answer. The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. Thomas Jefferson, Edmund Burke, John Locke, or, because we can't pronounce this other one, Spider-Man.
Which I do think is correct.
Maybe he did. He quoted it.
See?
All right, you ready? The answer is B.
Oh,
For
But
real
what
life,
is- what
you
was
and I
B?
were, like on it.
B is Edmund Burke.
Edmund Burke?
And what's actually interesting about
going with
that
John Locke.
is a lot of
I went with
people
Thomas
attribute it to
Jefferson.
him, but it's debated if he actually did it.
So I could be correct.
It may be Spider-Man.
Oh, I had Thomas Jefferson.
All right,
That's what I
so
picked,
B,
too.
Edmund Burke. All right, so what is the score through 3? Anybody got all
One.
3?
I just have one. Yeah.
0.
Scott's got 2, so you're in the lead. Levi, you're at 1. All right.
I watch way too much E Network to be a part of this.
Here we
So-
go. Quote number 4. Speak softly and carry a big stick. You'll go far. It's not that.
Can you get bonus points if you know it before the multiple choice?
You know this one?
I think I know this one. Yeah.
All right, so the choices, here's what's interesting. Y'all may think you know. So the choices are George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Theodore Roosevelt, or Dwight Eisenhower. You confident, Levi?
Well, my name wasn't on the list that I had in my head, so no, I need you to read those again. Do you know who I thought it was?
Clint Eastwood.
No, I thought it was Winston Churchill, but
No,
all right,
not him.
all right. I'll need
All
to
right.
listen again then.
You're thinking about that movie. What's the Walking Tall?
Walking tall. Yeah.
Is he not really excited?
Dwayne
Yeah.
Johnson.
Oh yeah, Dwayne The Rock Johnson did do
That was a
of
remake.
that.
Yeah. You got to watch the original.
It's not Walking Tall. So speak softly, carry a big stick, you will go far. George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Theodore Roosevelt, or Dwight Eisenhower. Lock in your answer.
Lock.
You got it? Jody,
I'm feeling confident.
what do you think it is?
Roosevelt?
You're right.
Yes.
Way to go. All right. How many of you got it right?
I got it.
3 of you. Okay. Hey, that's good. All right, here we go. Quote number 5. The secret of getting ahead is getting started. The secret of getting ahead is getting started. Is
Chinese
that
proverb.
Benjamin Franklin, who, by the way, because I preached on time on Sunday, Benjamin Franklin actually wrote a lot of things about time management, even though it wasn't called that at the time. Benjamin Franklin, Mark Twain, Henry David Thoreau, or Ralph Waldo Emerson. The secret of getting ahead is getting started.
What were the options?
Benjamin Franklin, Mark Twain, Henry David Thoreau, Ralph Waldo Emerson.
Okay.
Lock in your answer. Everybody got it? The answer, what'd you get, Scott?
I went with C.
You are wrong. It is Mark Twain.
Oh,
Dang.
yes.
What's interesting about that is even though he said the secret of getting ahead is getting started, he was an infamous procrastinator. I didn't know that about him. But he was a
Hypocrite.
yeah, really. Come on,
Got some
Samuel.
words for you.
See, that explains like Tom Sawyer and everything. Just
All right,
He
there
would
you
he would
go.
probably say expert in the field instead of hypocrite. You know.
Yeah.
All right, this is a good one. Quote number 6. The sweetest sound to anyone is the sound of their own name. The sweetest sound to anyone is the sound of their own name. Is that Dale Carnegie, Napoleon, Zig Ziglar, or Norman Vincent Peale?
Oh, it has to be. Yeah.
I mean, the name Zig Ziglar makes me happy to hear.
Zig Ziglar.
one of the
fun
people I
to
knew on the list.
Motivational speaker. Dale Carnegie, Napoleon, Zig Ziglar, Norman Vincent Peale. Sweetest sound to anyone is the sound of their own name. Austin, what'd you say?
I just said D because I have no idea.
It is A. Dale Carnegie.
Couldn't have been further away.
Dale Carnegie. He wrote a famous book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Actually, a
Oh, wait.
really good book.
Not the Carnegie. He was like the steel dude.
Not Carnegie.
have heard
Oh,
of that
that's
book.
who I was thinking. I was like, he had to be full of himself.
Carnegie.
Oh,
Andrew.
well, I still got it right.
No.
So is
yeah.
that step number 1 to winning people and making friends?
Yes, it
Whatever
is,
was.
Austin. Austin, did you know that Dale Carnegie wrote
feel
many
so
books
important.
about how to influence people? And one of his premises was the more people could hear their name said, Austin, the more that person enjoyed you talking to them. So
I thought
Austin, you
There's something to that because at Celebrate
actually makes me
Recovery, we give
uncomfortable.
everybody a name tag and they forget they're wearing it. And so if you call them by their name, they're just like, you know, they
well, there you go, Scott.
Yeah. So
That's a very good point, Scott.
Did you get that right, Oscar?
Oscar. Bless it.
Yeah.
what does it do to your brain when they call you the wrong name over and over.
Completely deflating.
Total opposite effect.
It's according on what personality type you are.
Yeah, is that what it is? Yeah.
I'm Eli to lots of folks. I get called Eli a lot. I don't know.
All right, through 6.
Sorry
What's the
about that,
score
Levi.
through 6? Anybody?
I think I'm still.
I think I'm 2.
All right, here we go. So number 7. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts.
I feel like I know all the. I've heard these.
I've heard all these
So
quotes.
Franklin D. Roosevelt, Theodore Roosevelt, Winston Churchill, or Margaret Thatcher.
Right.
You go Churchill, I'll go Thatcher. We'll split the
No half in
Be the same country. So
Will you say that quote one more time?
success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. Is that Franklin D. Roosevelt, Theodore Roosevelt, Winston Churchill, or Margaret Thatcher?
She was mean. I'm going with Churchill.
Even though it is highly debated, Winston Churchill.
Yeah.
Yes.
And even though it is commonly attributed to Winston Churchill, even if it isn't, it sounds like something he would say. All right. So quote number 8. Here we go. When you come to the fork in a road, take it. When you come to a fork in the road,
Jack Kerouac.
take it. Is that Mark Twain, Yogi Berra, Babe Ruth, or Will Rogers? If y'all listen to it, you'll get this one. When you come to a fork in the road, take it. Mark Twain, Yogi Berra, Babe Ruth, or Will Rogers?
It's Yogi Bear.
Wait.
You can't tell the answer.
Okay, cool. That's what I'm. That's
That
what
is
I'm
my
choosing.
guess, y'all.
He just gave it away. It is Yogi Berra.
All right.
I thought he was just into
Berra.
picnic baskets.
Yogi Berra was a catcher for the Yankees, and then he was the manager of the Yankees, and he is famous for what are called Yogiisms, and they're hilarious. They're really, really good.
Yeah, I was thinking Yogi Bear and didn't realize that was a real person.
So
Makes
it's
4
not,
for me.
it ain't over till it's over. Yogi Berra. You never heard anybody say it's not over till it's over?
I've never heard of Yogi Berra that she admits live on Liberty.
He once said about a restaurant in St. Louis. His sayings are so funny. There's so many of them. He said about a restaurant in St. Louis. He said no one goes there anymore. It's too crowded. He also said baseball is 90% mental. The other half is physical. He said never answer an anonymous letter.
I think he also said 60% of the time it works every time.
Something like, yeah. Something
I love
like
you, Oscar.
that.
That's Anchorman, though.
Man, here's you
Every time.
here's you a great word of advice. Always go to other people's funerals, otherwise they won't come to yours.
What a guy.
Yogi Berra. It's legendary. So funny. All right, so quote number 9. Here we go.
Wait. Oh, yeah. Okay.
The unexamined life is not worth living.
That's a
Plato,
wicked.
Aristotle, Socrates, or Augustine? Plato, Aristotle, Socrates, or Augustine? The unexamined life is not worth living. Not Yogi Berra.
Fiero, wicked.
We haven't had an A in a while. So
Lock in the answer. Melissa, don't give it away.
She knows this one too?
She's grinning like she does. So what do you think it is?
you got to get on the mic.
Get on the mic so people can hear you.
Socrates.
Melissa is correct.
Was that C?
Yep.
Oh, good. I
That's
got it right too.
He was sentenced to death. Remember, he's the one who had to drink the hemlock, and he said that as he was about to die. How awesome is that?
Are you good at Jeopardy?
You don't.
She watches a lot of Family Feud.
Is that true?
I do watch game shows,
She's great at Wheel of
but
Fortune.
not obsessed with them. But
Survey said.
All right, here we go. Quote number 10. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Oh, who was that?
I actually know.
Michael Jordan, Babe Ruth, Wayne Gretzky, or Kobe Bryant?
I know you're thinking Michael Scott.
You missed.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, famously attributed to Michael Scott, but he is not the originator.
That's where I heard it first.
Yeah. What was the option? He also raised money to cure rabies.
I think it's Jordan, Babe Ruth, Kobe Bryant.
Michael Jordan, Babe Ruth, Wayne Gretzky, or Kobe Bryant.
I'm just picturing the photo of Michael Scott with the quote behind him of who said it, and then up under that, Michael Scott under it.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so Levi, what was your answer?
It was the great Wayne Gretzky.
Yep.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Awesome.
There you go. All right,
Yeah, I
so
got
who
five.
got?
You crushed
5.
this.
You got 5. Anybody beat 5?
I have 6. She got like all of them.
How many did you get, Melissa?
I got 7.
You got
7.
7.
All right.
That's almost
Yeah.
all of them.
I was in dead last by a long shot.
Well, one of these days, Melissa, you may be in quotes that are things that smart people say. Because, man, apparently you're very smart.
The book of sarcasm. That will be what I'm in.
All right. So good deal. So let's go around some things going on in the church. Couple of notes of sadness and prayer. Man, Joe Cooper passed away. I know a lot of people had been praying for Joe. You know, I can give you a fun fact about Joe, Mary, and Cecilia. So I've been in October this year, I'll be 30 years as a pastor. I have pastored them longer than any other people I've ever pastored. They were in our church in Birmingham and here. So I've known them a long time, man. Joe was a great guy, and hated to see him pass away and decline so quickly. There at the end, there will be no kind of public service for that, but man, reach out for them and do be praying for them. And Joe will be very missed, especially on our security team around here. And then Nancy Keys. Nancy, you got to take care of yourself, man. Nancy broke her shoulder, right? Mm-hmm. And so Shannon called her. She is on the mend. So, Nancy, we hope that you're back in here really, really soon. Man, she just got that boot off her foot. Yeah. So, Nancy, we need to put you in a bubble, right? So, all right. And then a couple of news and notes. And by the way, Jody said a lot of kids playing basketball right now. Mm-hmm. So let us know how your kids are doing in the basketball season. We'd love to tell about that on the podcast. But we do have Bo Barrett in our church, man. He is in the Dalton Daily Citizen today. He received the Heart of Hamilton Award, and that is for associates who exhibit professionalism, respect, integrity, and excellence.
That's awesome.
And if you're paying attention, you notice that professionalism, respect, integrity, and excellence is an acronym apparently for pride is what one they use. I didn't get the D word, but
you remember when I said that God puts awesome folks around me?
Yeah.
Bo Barrett, middle school boys leader.
he
leader,
was with you this weekend. Yeah.
No, he didn't come this weekend, but he helps connect students, do their thing, man. Good dude, awesome guy, good leader.
I also saw a picture of Bo in the newspaper giving blood, or it was on Facebook, I think. So Bo is putting it on the line for the hospital over there, so he deserves an award. But way to go, Bo Barrett. So any great thing going on in our families, man, we'd love to know about it to put it on the podcast. So let's talk about several announcements going on right now. One is our Liberty Discipleship Journal. If you haven't picked up one of those and you want to know how get in the Word, how do I hear from God, you can get one of these. There is a QR code right on the front cover that takes you to a video. It shows you how to use it. There's also a scripture reading plan there. But what we ultimately want to happen is for people to get in groups, and whether it's once a month, twice a month, or once a week, to get together and talk about just what you experienced, what the Lord showed you through His Word that week. If you want to be a part of a training event for that, that is going to be this Sunday, which would be the 25th. Right after church, we'll have a free luncheon. All we do is ask that you go online on our Liberty app and sign up just so we make sure that we have enough food for you. But, man, a lot of people have gotten those, and I've heard a lot of good things so far about
Yeah, I
those.
was talking with somebody last night just about how they're using it already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's man, and it's a simple way to kind of go through the Word and just hear from the Lord. So let's bring up a bad word that I really don't like to talk about, especially on a Saturday, and that is the snow word, right?
I was like, where's this going?
Yeah.
Hey,
So-
you looked at me for a second. I was like, oh no. On the podcast? We're doing this on the podcast? What happened?
We need to meet, right?
I didn't break any. I didn't lose any kids at Strength to Stand. It was all good.
I'd say there are two things pastors hate, and one is a text message that says, "Can you call me?" Hate that.
I think anybody hates
You mean
that.
with no context whatsoever? You don't like that?
Yeah. And
Can we talk?
yeah, that one too. Yeah. And then the word snow, especially when it's on the weekend. Golly. So anyway, there's a lot of things circulating around that we may get ice and snow on Saturday here in Georgia. So what happens? Who makes the call if the church is going to be closed over the weekend? Let me tell you how this works. If the Walmart on Highway 76 in Dalton is open, we'll be open. All right. So we may not do all the life groups. We may not have all the different ministries and be available to do that, but we will have service if the Walmart on Highway 76 is open. That policy comes from years ago when I was in Crossville, Tennessee as pastor. We got a lot of snow up there. And so, man, it'd start, Friday. If they call snow on Sunday, people start calling me on Friday. Hey, we having church? And, I'm like, hey, I don't know. So, I'd wait to make that call, and I'd get so much pressure to call off church, I would. And then I went to Walmart on a Sunday, and there's lots of people from the church there. And so I thought, hey, if you can get to Walmart, you could have got to church, right? So I made that 30 years ago. I made that my policy. If Walmart's open, we're going to be open.
Good measuring stick.
So, but a couple of ways that you can stay informed of all the particulars of what is going on. One is to get the Liberty app because it pushes out push notifications. Make sure you turn the notifications on. Our Liberty Facebook page will also be a place that we put that. So the Liberty Facebook page and the Liberty app, any kind of weather update that you need as we go along, that's time of year for those kind of things to happen. So that's the snow plan. All right. So I know Corbin's going to mention this here in just a few moments, but don't forget about Mike Blackaby coming on the weekend of the 30th, the 31st, and the 1st. And we're going to interview Mike here in just a few minutes. So stay tuned on the podcast. That's coming up here in just a little bit. But the registration is online for that. If you're going to have childcare on Friday or Saturday, and then also the brunch, the Q&A brunch on Saturday, that's on the app, and it's also online. You can get signed up there. Our ladies have started a brand new Bible study on Wednesday nights called Tame Your Thoughts. Jump in there with them at 6:30. The men are going through the book of Ecclesiastes in a series called Living on Empty. So good stuff happening on Wednesday nights all the way through. Adults, kids, little bitties, teenagers. We got something for everybody. And then we have a mission trip coming up this summer, July the 10th through the 18th to Arad, Romania. If you are at all interested in that trip, Elijah Soratow from Romania is going to be here on Monday night, the 26th. That's going to be at 7 p.m. to kind of give us information, logistics, all the kind of things you need to know about that trip. You'll be able to ask some questions. But the information about the Romania mission trip is in the What's Happening at Liberty, also on the app. And then a couple of save the dates, man. When we get into the summer, it's really fun for kids and students here at Liberty, right? So a couple of save the dates. This isn't the summer, but coming up in March, March 13th through 15th, D-Now weekend. Yeah. So tell them a little bit what D-Now weekend is.
So it was one of the first people I talked to when I got here and kind of welcomed me into Dalton that wasn't from our church family. It was Tyler Singleton over at Grove Level. Awesome guy, loves the Lord. And he kind of organizes Discipleship Now weekend, and it's for students all over the area. There's several churches that are involved. It's an inexpensive thing. I think it's $30. And for the weekend, we get in host homes for Liberty people, but we all gather together in different churches at Grove Level, have some good sessions, have some good worship, and it's always a good time just for students to, again, unplug, grow in their faith, grow in relationships, but not have to go all the way to Florida or all the way to Pigeon Forge because it's local. And so it's a good time.
I would call it a low investment, high impact weekend.
100%.
Yeah, there
100%.
you go. It's always makes a huge impact. And then also kind of to raise, you guys are going to Birmingham this summer for
right.
the student trip. That's going to be June the 27th through July the 1st, Saturday through Wednesday. A little bit different.
It's a little bit different. We're doing something different this year. We're going to Generate Camp with YM360. The speaker that's going to be there is Chad Poe. Rush of Fools is going to be a band there, but it's
Man, you'll love Chad.
yeah. Well,
He's so funny.
He was at a conference, the Southeastern Youth Leaders Conference we went to this summer, and I think you said he's been here before and preached and stuff. He's a good guy, good speaker, captivated the students, and so yeah, praying through that and trying something different this year with camp, and just letting the Lord do what He wants.
Man, I went to Egypt with Scott Dawson and Kevin from Rush of Fools.
Okay.
And Kevin ran out of, he's the lead singer. He ran out of room in his luggage, and he sent back, we went to this shop that had these oils, we call them essential oils here. Sure. But they're these very purified oils that they were selling in Egypt. He sent back his vial of this orange, I don't know, it was orange. Something.
It wasn't Agent Orange.
I still have it. So I need to send it with you.
What a great awkward first be like, hi, very nice to meet you. I've got some
this?
oil from about 20 years ago. I think this is yours.
It wasn't quite
Please
20
do that
years
and
ago.
report back.
I
That'd
will
be so
I will
funny.
do that.
Probably for 8 years he's been thinking, where did I put that orange oil? Right. So I've got it, Kevin. So
That's awesome.
You could just say
That is
like
so
the Lord
funny.
gave you a dream, and
Like really worked
Bro,
out.
how cool would that be if he was really like, man, I prayed about that like years ago, and then I never did find it. I just figured the
come
Lord didn't
walking
answer and be
up
like,
with
God's timeline's not always ours, buddy.
he actually did a one of the conferences that our students went to when Kylie was in the group, and I sent it with Kylie, and she saw him one night, said, hey, my dad sent something for you. And he said, hey, yeah, let's make sure we get, and they never saw each other again. So I still have.
I feel like I've got a side quest that I've got to fulfill
There you go.
this summer.
Need to send Kevin's orange stuff. So then also VBS this year is going to be a little bit earlier, June the 7th
is.
through the 11th.
It is. We're really excited. It's called Phobia Island. So we're going to be focusing on we're going to be focusing on teaching courage and what that looks like, because fear is always around. But what do we do when we need to step into courage? And so it's going to be kind of like Gilligan's Island meets Survivor meets Fear Factor. And so we are pumped. We are doing it early this year because one, let's do it. I'm just excited for it. But also, we have so many other opportunities for people to get involved with this summer, and we want them to be able to be engaged in whatever and not have to pick and choose. And so we're really excited to kick the summer off with VBS. One thing we are doing in February is making a board out at the Kids Doc check-in desk that it says, be a lifesaver. And on all those lifesavers, it's going to have different ways. Like if you've got beach towels that you are going to donate, well, we need about 50 of them for games and other things. And so just like the Amazon, when you get boxes in, all that brown paper that you would normally throw away can help us make palm branches and trees and stuff like that. So we're going to have a board out in February that just says, hey, be a lifesaver for VBS. Pops has already stepped in. He's getting me 4 tires and a steering wheel for our broken down Jeep. And so, but so just different ways be looking to plug in, but we are so excited for VBS this year.
Good deal. I like it.
Speaking of phobias, I'm going to need you to remove the cotton
I already
balls
knew you were
from
gonna say
underneath.
that.
about to say.
I remember as soon as you said it, I
Somebody did me dirty with the barrels.
Yeah, so
I-
let's give the context story for this. People are afraid of lots of things. I do not like spiders. If there's a spider around the house and Shannon calls
it's
for the
mice
kill,
for me.
I go in. I don't know why I have to yell like, "Bah!" But
Let him know who's boss.
Oh man. And I'll tell you something absolutely terrified me, y'all. One morning I took Lucy, our dog, out, and I take her out. It's really, really early. And I came back inside, and I can't remember if I was making coffee or whatever, and I felt something just like,
No.
what was on me? And it was during that time of the year, when the spiders are just everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man. And right there on me. I think I did damage to
Dance
the
like
kitchen.
David out of your clothes.
You want to hear something gross?
Yeah.
Okay. Kind of along these same lines. There was a couple churches ago for me, I was cleaning out some stuff back behind the stage, and I had left a jacket back there that I had lost for a while. I mean, not super long, but a couple months. I had just maybe set it back there when I was doing something. Then I guess wasn't cold the rest of the day and went home and was like, I don't know where I put that jacket. So I found that jacket. And so I go to the bathroom, I think, and I put it on, and this is the bad part. I start to smell something before I feel something, and it was just like this strange stench odor thing. And then I start feeling this something crawling up my sleeve.
Oh,
and it's a cockroach. And I'm telling you,
Better than a mouse.
that day I had that jacket on at that moment, and then I had a button up like shirt on, and I don't know how I did it, but within 2.8 seconds, both of those were on the floor, and I screaming. Yeah, I'm like, how did these clothes even get off of me? But that's how bad I wanted that cockroach away from me.
so phobias are real, and Scott is about to share a phobia with you that y'all. I'm telling you, you're like, there's no way this is real. I've known
don't
Scott a
judge.
long time. There is verified evidence that Scott, you are afraid of.
Cotton balls. It's a real thing. You can look it up.
All right.
What's the scientific phobia word for it?
Synglobophobia. So
All right.
That's the but
So
yeah.
Scott's digging through the barrel, sending it to Africa the other day, and Scott last week, y'all, was not happy. What happened?
So it was stuffed in a blue bag with some other stuff, and so I pull it out and I grab something out of the bag, and then I see it and I toss it in the floor. And I go get Levi, and Levi, you got to do me. You got to help me. You
I
got
saw
to do
him,
me
I
a
said, "I got you,
solid.
fam."
I can't even
So these are barrels full of donated items. You're
Yes.
pulling things out to inventory it
Yes.
and pull out a
And-
bag
and
of
there
cotton
is
balls,
mine-
which would
there's-
be like to you
A severed head.
a cockroach in a
Yes,
shirt.
yes. It
Or a
would
severed
be like everything inside of me wanted to burn the church down. Just like I lost all sense of. Yeah,
Definition of phobia is irrational fear.
yeah.
Don't gotta make sense.
And logically, I know that a cotton ball cannot harm me. It cannot, but everything inside of me just goes out the window.
We'll have and for VBS, we need a cotton room.
Oh
right, to
no,
help
no, no,
Scott
no,
confront
no.
his
I will.
fears, right?
You will. You
like a horror
will.
film
You
to
will
Scott.
not see me at VBS. I'm sorry. I know
VBS
how this
out.
goes.
Look, I see your hands like literally like clenching and like
Yeah.
it's real.
So my life group did me dirty one time.
I remember that.
They did. It was Christmas time, and everybody's passing around these coffee
not a good
mugs
place
in the
for
bags.
this.
Yeah. And so this is how funny God is. So we're passing these bags around, people taking bags and stuff. And so I end up with a coffee mug. And as soon as I open it up, the coffee mug stuffed full of cotton balls. And just like, it's like,
It's not funny.
Well, nobody's
Like,
gonna put a coffee
no,
cup full of
it's-
spiders. That's weird.
like it took everything I had to keep my cool in the midst of everybody. It's like,
Oh, man. So hey, one other news and note kind of to end on, and then we'll kick it over to Corbin, and then we'll do the Mike Blackaby interview. But we are ending the month. I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago in the stewardship sermon series we're on, a 90-day tithing challenge. And this is what we're challenging everybody to do, man. If you've never done this is especially, I would encourage you to do this. One is find 10% in your budget that you can cut. So it may be subscriptions, it may be different things, but you may be surprised in cutting that 10%, you find other things. Boy, we could do better financially if we do this. And here's the interesting thing about people who tithe. People who tithe statistically do better financially, one, because they just keep track of where their money's going. And so that's a good start. Just try to find 10% to cut. And then we're challenging you to give that 10% as a tithe to the church and do what Malachi 3 says and just see what God would do. That's one place in the Bible he says, test me in this. See if I will not pour out the windows of heaven and pour out upon you a blessing. So I would encourage you to do that. And I know some people probably listen to this, watching it, go, man, I absolutely can't afford to. And, you know, Brian Mayer, man, we give way above and beyond that. But I'll tell you this, I know what it means to tithe when things are tight. This year will be 30 years I've been a pastor. My first year of being a pastor, full time, I made $12,000. $12,000. And even 30 years ago, $12,000 wasn't a whole lot of money, right? So for a full-time job, making $1,000 a month, that's part-time money, right? But we were amazed. We stayed faithful, never compromised the tithe. You'd be blown away at all the stories I could tell you of what God did during that year. We never missed anything. We were given, we would open the door and food would be sitting on the, like bags of groceries be sitting on our doorstep. Somebody gave us a vacation that year. I mean, it was just everything we could ever want, we had. And man, it was just really, really good. So just, it's amazing to see what God would do. And every time that happens, people come to me and go, man, you'll never believe what God did. And I'm thinking, oh yeah, I know. Yeah. I've heard this story so many times. So I'm telling you, 90 days, try this. Find 10% to cut. Give that 10% of the church. Watch what God would do. And our commitment date is February the 1st. And the end date of that is May the 3rd. So that's 90 days. So check it out and see what God might do with that.
And these stories that you're talking about, the budget and finance team, we want to hear them. Like we want to hear them. Those are testimonies of you testing the tithe. So so don't let those stories go untold.
And parents, your kids are actually getting banks going home on January 28th that they have been donated by one of the life groups. And they are the old school banks that have the tithe, save, spend. And we're calling it Change for Change. And they are going to be learning about not just taking your money or saying, hey, I need this to put in this bucket, but how can they make a change in their household to get change in the church to make the change and just keep giving. So that goes home on January 28th.
That's awesome. Good stuff there. So, man, a lot going on around Liberty we want you to be a part of. But let's kick it over to Corbin, find out who had birthdays and anniversaries, and then we're going to talk to Mike Blackaby here in just a few minutes. So stay tuned to Live at Liberty.
All right, this is Corbin, and let's cover some birthdays today. We have a bunch of birthdays coming up in the month of January, a bunch on the 21st and all that. So Jeff Bennett, Lene Smith on the 21st of January, Deacon Amos, Thomas Bales, Jake Carver, Josh Hendricks, and Mason Hendricks, and Alexa Wyndham all on January 22nd, Megan Martin, Lance Beavers on the 23rd, and Tammy Bennett on January 26th. Also, don't forget, when you come to Life Group, sign in on the app. Use it for boat points. We'll use the boat points for the Liberty at the Lake in August. That way, you know, it's all in what you do. Sign in. If you read your Bible, bring your Bible, brought a friend, served at CR, anything that you're serving, just check in on the app, sign in, use it, earn your life some points. Also, don't forget, January 30th, 31st, and February 1st, Mike Blackaby will be here at Liberty to kind of follow up what we did with the church months ago of experiencing God. He will be here January 30th from 6:30 to 9, Saturday night 5 to 7:30, and also be a Q&A Saturday morning brunch. That costs money, but that is all on the app, so check it out. But that will be a very good time to come and to see and just to experience God, because like I said, we did it with a church, and it was a really good time. So I'm looking forward to that. But just look forward to seeing it.
Well, welcome back to Live at Liberty. And, man, we have a very important guest in the life of Liberty coming up right here, Mike Blackaby, all the way from Vancouver Island, which is a long way from Georgia and probably much colder this morning. What is the temperature in Vancouver Island right now?
Oh, it's not too bad. Well, I've got mine. My app is in Celsius, so I don't
We
know how
have
that
no
translates
idea
to
what that is.
but it's not too bad. Vancouver Island actually is the most moderate climate in all of Canada. And so
Oh, wow.
if you want to go somewhere in Canada where you're not going to see snow, this is the place to be. Much to my wife's joy. She's from Georgia. And so we see snow, but we get it for maybe like a couple days and we play in it and then it's gone.
Yeah, they're saying that we may get some snow here this weekend, and you know how that is in Georgia. It is total panic button whenever
I've lived through that. Yes, I know. Stock up on bread and milk.
yeah, man. There they go. And I always tell people, if I'm going to freeze to death or I'm going to die in a total disaster or I'm going to be stuck, I don't want to go out with bread and milk, man. Give me some Oreos. Give me something good, you know?
Yeah. I'm gonna go down with a box of Fruit Loops in my hands.
There it is. Well, hey, man, we are really excited about having you here at Liberty. You're going to be here with us on Friday, January the 30th, Saturday, the 31st, and on Sunday, February the 1st. The times and everything for the sessions are on our website, libertybaptistchurch.ws. Also doing a Q&A brunch with you on Saturday, and we wanted to put that at a time because what are you 3-4 hours behind us?
I'm 3 hours earlier, yeah. So I'll.
Yeah, so we didn't
I don't
want to
know
do
where I'll be
a
at that time.
9 a.m. session, which would be 6 a.m. to your mind and body. So we're going to do that Q&A brunch. So I'm sure a lot of people have questions to ask you there. So I'm not going to ask all the questions here, but I just wanted to kind of lead off of just kind of the story, one of how we connected to you, and then just kind of the story of growing up in the heritage of the Blackaby home, which has got to be an amazing thing. But a couple of years ago, I was just really seeking the Lord in my life, and through incredible providential circumstances, a mutual friend of ours, Bob Payne, entered into my story. We were going on sabbatical, and Bob sent me a box of books, which was pretty much all the books that any of the Blackabys had ever written. And so that's kind of what I digested the entire time I was on that trip. And I had gone through experiencing God back in the 90s and saw just kind of the impact of that. But man, when I started just going through this again and just wow, I was just blown away at the content. And I'll tell you this, my favorite book, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say this with the Blackabys. My
No, go for
favorite book of them all was Living from the Overflow, written by your dad, Richard.
it.
That
Yeah,
book, man, that was just a great one.
it's
But
awesome.
but real men of God in your life, and your grandfather and your father Richard and your extended family. What's it like growing up in a home where the men just your family knows the Lord like that?
Yeah, that's a great question, Brian. It's well, for one, n none of them are perfect in any way, and so sort of get that out of the way.
That makes
They
us all feel better.
Yeah, I mean, it's sometimes when, when you maybe know somebody through a book or through, you kind of know who they are through what they share in there. And I think a lot of the Blackaby books um they can give some vulnerability too, which is nice because it's not just, here's all the times when I got it right. Here's all the times when I saw these amazing things. And yet I would say that my grandfather ran his race well. And I think in an age and culture where we're seeing a lot of people, kind of well-known Christian authors and speakers, trip and stumble at the finish
Yeah.
line, um, which is heartbreaking. I'm grateful that my grandfather, though he wasn't perfect, he lived a faithful life, and I think he lived a very humble life. And if you got around him just in the normal everyday circumstances, he was the most introverted man I think I've ever met. And so he'd be sitting in a chair off in the corner, and you hardly even know he was there. And it was amazing to think, like, here's a guy who's a bit of a wallflower. He certainly barely notice he's there, but then to see the way that God uses his life and the power that would come out of him when he'd preach, or these insights or these words that he would be able to write, and as he just followed God faithfully to some very hard circumstances. He never really sought the glamorous thing. Later in his life, he had the opportunity to do some pretty amazing things, go to the White House, speak at the Pentagon, like do some of these big things. But I don't know that if he ever realized that he was even doing big things. Like, he
Mm.
just treated it the same way as when he would go to be a pastor of a little church in Saskatoon with, less than 10 people about to shut the doors. And he just approached them the same. If God called me to this, then I'm going to be faithful to it. And I'm going to live my life seeking him in every moment and in every circumstance, whether I'm on stage speaking to thousands of people or whether I'm talking one-on-one with somebody after a conference. And can't tell you how many times my dad and brother and I and others have heard people tell stories of, hey, it was a 10-minute conversation with your grandfather at the end of the conference that changed my life. And he said some powerful things in his sermons, but it was afterwards. He had this policy that he wouldn't leave until everybody who wanted to talk to him had a chance to talk to him. And he would always say, how do I know that God's assignment for me isn't the last person in line? And so there'd be times when, the lights are out and they're locking up the place, and there's one person at the back of the line finally gets to talk to him. And I've met those people who said, I was that person at the back of the line, and a 10-minute conversation with your grandfather changed the course of my life. And, sometimes it was big things like, I quit my business and became a missionary overseas, and like totally changed course. And other times it was just smaller things. I just realized I could go deeper with God. And so I think for me, I watching my grandfather and being around him was fascinating to see that dynamic of just an ordinary, real quiet, reserved guy that God used to do amazing things. And then just being around my dad, I would say, I don't know how many millennials say this or how many, I would just say I had a great childhood and I loved my dad. Like I think not a ton of people, unfortunately, can say that, but I think my dad took what he saw in his dad and lived that out, and in other unique ways too. Went places that Grandpa never did, and so then each generation has to decide. So how will I live? Like, I can appreciate and I can be inspired by the generation ahead of me, as we all can. But then the question is, so what am I going to do with that? Like, what does God want for me? And I would just say, Brian, one interesting thing that both my brother and sister and I would all say is, I don't think we ever felt pressured to have to like carry on this family thing, like to go into ministry, to be a pastor. Like we all ended up in some form of ministry, but at least I can speak for myself. Like I don't remember ever feeling pressure. Like I know Dad always would love for me to do that, like, because I think he saw God's call in my life probably before I saw God's call on my life. But never felt that pressure. It was always, what does God want you to do? How has he created you? How is he leading you? You don't have to just do what the generation ahead of you did, but what is God's call on your life? How do you take that and keep going? And so that's what we've tried to do. And now I've got kids of my own, four little ones, and I look to them and just pray, God, what do you have for them? How will they run their race, knowing that they've got this cloud of witnesses that have gone before them,
Yeah.
but that God has something unique for them in their day.
Yeah. Well, man, you guys, our church is familiar with you because we had asked, because of the impact it made on me, just kind of going back through experiencing God again over that sabbatical, me and my wife, we invited Bob to come on Wednesday nights and go through experiencing God with our church. So we had over 200 people go through experiencing God at one time in the group. So most of our people have seen you guys on the videos. So they're
Yeah.
familiar with who you are and your father's work to kind of carry on that legacy of the experiencing God curriculum. And now you guys, I think it's in May actually at the Cove in North Carolina, you're introducing kind of the next step in the study, experiencing God in everyday life. So tell us about that content, which is sort of what you're going to share about when you're here at Liberty with us.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Dad's doing a conference at the Cove. They'll be the first ones, I think, to have access to the new book, and he'll be sharing that material. And then June 1st is when the actual Bible study comes out. And it's really I don't know if you call it a, it's weird to call it like a sequel or a follow-up. I've been calling it a companion. It's a companion book to Experiencing God. So it's not going to cover all the same, it's not going to just rehash all the same stuff that's in Experiencing God, 35 years later, but it is going to say, what do the truths of experiencing God look like lived out in the everyday? And I think one of the reasons why as we were coming together, my brother, my dad, and I, and figuring out how do you write a follow-up to a modern Christian classic, and there's a little bit of pressure on that. Like, do you even have to? Like, do you need to write a follow-up? And I think what we conclusion we came to was we talked to a lot of people who say the experiencing God changed my whole perspective. Like it changed the way that I saw my Christian life. It changed the way that I approached, everything. This realization that God is at work all around me, and I don't have to just invite him into what I'm doing, but he's already working and he's inviting me into what he's doing if I have eyes to see it, and he wants to let me be a part of his work. This incredible insight. And for a lot of people, and probably many people in your church, experiencing God became a bit of a mountaintop experience for them. And they would say, man, like, I feel like I gained this insight, like many of those in the Bible who had these literal mountaintop experiences. And you've got, Elijah calling down fire from heaven on Mount Carmel, and you've got Peter who's experiencing the transfiguration on top of a mountain, and you've got Moses who's being delivered the Ten Commandments written by the hand of God on the top of a mountain, and you're just like, wow, these mountaintop experiences, they give you this perspective. They change the way you look at everything. But then another thing we started realizing as we talked to people, and mostly my dad, as he's talked to people over the last few decades, is they would say, like, I sometimes struggle to know, what do I do next? Like I'd finish the 12-week course and it would be this big mountaintop experience, and then I would get back into the grind of everyday life.
Yeah.
And I would ask myself, so what does that look like when I'm driving my kids to school? Like what does that look like when I'm doing laundry, or where I'm just commuting to work, and I'm at my job for 8 hours during the day, and I'm flipping burgers or whatever, and it's like, how do I have these incredible moments that I read about in Experiencing God, where Henry Blackaby seemed to constantly be getting checks in the mail at the last minute, or
Yeah.
or these miracles happening all around him. If I don't experience big God moments in a week, did I miss it? Like, did I not experience God this week if I didn't have a mountaintop big experience? What we realized was a lot of people don't know how to take what they learn on the mountaintop and bring it down into the valley. And the three that I mentioned, like Elijah, the next thing he does after this incredible mountaintop experience is he fears for his life and he flees from Queen Jezebel. You're just like, you're scared of anybody? Like you just saw fire come down from heaven, and you're like, and you're fearful and you retreat. Moses receives the Ten Commandments from God. He comes down the mountain, sees everybody worshiping a golden calf, and in his anger, he smashes the Ten Commandments on the ground. His anger is actually going to eventually become his downfall of why he doesn't enter the promised land. Peter doesn't even wait till he gets down the mountain before he starts spouting off all the things they should do at the Mount of Transfiguration, and the audible voice of God from heaven actually has to cut him off while he's still speaking and said, this is my son, listen. Like, stop talking, listen to him. And we realized even the people in scripture didn't always know how to take their insights from the mountaintop into the valley. They stumbled on the way down. And yet most of life is not lived on mountaintops. Most of life is lived and we don't, when we use the term valley, we don't mean like the valley of the shadow of death. Like sometimes it's that, but we just mean just the valley. Like Most of life, most of the stories in the Bible, most of our experience is not the big moments. There's a few of those along the way. They give us insight, they give us perspective, they change our, our view on things. But then we got to figure out, how do I implement this into the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, like the routine. And and what we realize is those that you find who are spiritually mature, they're not the ones who had the most mountaintop experiences. They're the ones who learned how to experience God in the valley. They're the ones who figured out how to bring their faith from the mountaintop into the valley. And there's those who are constantly chasing the next mountaintop. And I spoke a bit on this at a men's conference recently, and I remember a guy saying, like, he's just in the valley and he's just waiting. I said, what do we do in the valleys? And it's like a waiting period. And I'm just waiting for that next thing, that next mountain. And I'm like, what a shame to waste most of your life waiting for the next big thing, right? To assume the only times now every time we experience God, it's significant, but it's not always big and miraculous. And I just love how after Elijah has this big confrontation on Mount Carmel, not long after that is when he's spends time in a widow's house, and God provides for him just day in and day out, and he even experiences God in the quiet whisper, right? And not in the lightning and the thunder and all the stuff. And it's like, okay, so is that moment any less powerful than fire coming down from heaven? It's different. It's not as flashy. It's maybe not even as miraculous, and yet it's just as significant. And what we found, and I think is the case with my grandfather, is he learned how to experience God in the valleys, not just the mountaintops. And day after day, that adds up over time. And maturity, spiritual maturity, is gained over time. Consistency over time. What you do consistently is what shapes you. Um, sure, Paul had a road to Damascus experience, but you don't get a sense that that was his everyday experience. He didn't wake up every day and be like, "Wow, I got blinded again by the," you know, and yet he ran his race, right? He used all of this imagery of he's speaking to Timothy, train yourself for godliness. These Greek words that we get gymnasium from, like this idea of like hit the gym every day, train yourself. And so a lot of what this book is about is, how do you shape your everyday experience to make space to experience God? Because there's a million distractions. There's a countless things that will take your time and attention away from focusing on God. And if we're not intentional, like, you don't mature and grow accidentally, right? Like, it's an intentional, it takes effort. Now, we're not earning our salvation. We're not doing these things to make God love us. Like, that's not what we're talking about. But maturity, there is some work involved. Paul's like, train yourself towards godliness. Like, it's beneficial. And I think you can find people who even went through experiencing God and it radically reshaped their life, but then they've never grown since then, right? And it's this sense of like, they'll say, I did experiencing God 20 years ago and it changed my life. And it's like, what did God do last week in your life? Like, how has the last 20 years shaped you? And time itself doesn't make you mature. Like, it just makes you old. And you can find mature young people and you can find immature old people. There's this sense of, what do you do consistently over time? And so in a lot of ways, building habits, set like the disciplines, the practices in the faith, those things aren't, they're not these laws that we just, if I do this, I will become mature. It's, if I want to experience God, I need to be intentional about seeking him. I need to put aside time. I need to set aside space. I need to seek him with all my heart. And when I seek him, I'll find him, and it won't always be on the mountaintops. I may be able to worship God while I'm doing the dishes at home. Like I may encounter God through gratitude or through service or through solitude or silence or all these different ways that I can set aside intentional time to encounter God. And what we find is those moments shape us over time. And so this book is really about the marathon, right? If experiencing God is what God shows you on the mountaintop, then this one is now how do I live that in the day to day so that I might say like Paul, I've run the good race. I fought the fight, the good fight and I can finish well. And I think in an age when we're seeing a lot of people not finish well, um, we may not be thinking decades down the road of our own lives. I don't know how many people really think about that. How am I going to end my life? They're thinking about like, what do I got to do today? And I think that's good because if you ask, what does God have for me today? And you ask that every day, then over the course of your life, what you'll find is you become spiritually mature. And I guess I'm old enough now to have seen a lot of my friends that I grew up with in the youth group and in church and stuff just fall away from the faith. And there's this idea of like, how does a guy like Henry Blackaby live his whole life into his 80s, staying faithful and continuing to experience God? And well, it's not because he's some sort of superhero. It's not because he has some abilities that the rest of us don't have. I mean, he's gifted in his own ways, just like we're all gifted in different ways. But I think consistency over the long haul is what crafts a person into a mature believer. And I think a lot of people are looking for that. I think they're saying the big moments are awesome. It'd be great if every single day I saw miracles, but can I experience God every day? Even if it doesn't look like the kind of big stories I would write in a book. And I would say, even for my grandfather, he wrote a lot of his big stories in the book, right? But that wasn't always his everyday experience. But he would probably tell you that his everyday experience was, I experienced God every day. Sometimes it was big and flashy, like fire coming down from heaven stuff, but often it was just it was the small moments, and the small moments add up over time. So that's kind of a bit of a summary that we'll be diving into that at your church and looking at some different aspects of that. But that was the motivation, and that's a little bit of a nutshell, I guess, of our motivation behind it and kind of what we were trying to do with that book.
Man, I just hearing that, man, I can't wait. I'm so excited for you to be here. And I think just everything you just touched on, I've heard and experienced myself. That's what really our people are tuning into is a lot of what you just said. How do I experience God in everyday life, man? So we're really excited to have you here. So again, there's going to be 5 teaching sessions, 2 on Friday night. That's January the 30th, 2 on Saturday night, January the 31st. And then you'll be with us in our main worship service on February the 1st on Sunday. So we're going to get those 5. But man, one of the things I'm really looking forward to is one, you're always looking forward to good brunch. I like a good
Yes.
brunch. Just that mixture
We're all
of,
about brunch here in Victoria.
yeah.
This lineups out the door. It's crazy.
But it's a Q&A time, man. We're going to give an hour just for people to ask you those questions and get those stories. And I think that'll be a rich time as well. But man, just again, hearing all this, I can't wait. I'm so excited for it. So, man, just go on our Liberty Baptist Chatsworth app. You can sign up right there. The website, libertybaptistchurch.ws. But again, January 30th, January 31st, February 1st, Mike Blackaby will be here right with us at Liberty talking about their upcoming release of Experiencing God in Everyday Life. Thanks for your time, Mike. And man, we're really looking forward to seeing you next week.
Thanks, Brian. Looking forward to it too.